Imagine a world where your favorite late night snack doesn't arrive at your doorstep in a flash. It is hard to picture, right? Today, we are diving deep into what might be the most incredible business glow up in the history of the modern world. We are talking about a brand that started in a tiny, cramped, and honestly quite struggling pizza joint in Michigan and somehow transformed itself into the undisputed king of the global delivery world. But here is the real kicker that has industry experts scratching their heads. Is Domino's actually a pizza company, or is it a massive tech giant cleverly disguised in a delivery uniform? Seriously, the way they have mastered the digital game is nothing short of legendary. But before they were conquering the stock market and outperforming Silicon Valley elites, they were just two brothers with a very small amount of cash and a whole lot of flour on their hands. Let's take it all the way back to 1960. You have to meet Tom and James Monaghan. These two brothers didn't have a massive inheritance, a fancy Ivy League education, or even a basic business plan written down. They just had about $500 and a burning desire to run their own show. They decided to buy a small, failing pizza shop called Domino's in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Back then, it was just a local spot with no reputation and even fewer customers. They were working brutal hours, tossing dough until their arms ached, and trying to figure out how to make the math work on a business that seemed destined to fold. But here is where the story takes a turn that sounds like a wild plot point from a movie. You honestly won't believe the deal that went down just 8 months after they opened the doors. James Monaghan, Tom's brother, started getting a bit tired of the endless grind. He already had a full-time job as a postman, and those long, exhausting nights at the pizza shop were wearing him down to the bone. So he made a decision that would eventually go down as one of the most famous "what was he thinking" moments in business history. James decided he wanted out of the pizza game for good. He traded his entire 50% stake in the business to his brother Tom. And what did he get in return for a half share of a future multi-billion-dollar empire? A used 1959 Volkswagen Beetle. Yes, you heard that correctly. He literally traded a global dynasty for a car that probably struggled to start on a cold Michigan morning. Can you even imagine the vibes at their family Thanksgiving dinners decades later? Tom kept the shop, officially renamed it Domino's in 1965, and the rest is history. James, meanwhile, kept the car. It is the ultimate cautionary tale about the value of long-term vision versus short-term convenience. With full control of the wheels, Tom Monaghan became absolutely obsessed with one specific thing: speed. He realized that hungry people didn't just want a good pizza, they wanted it right now. This obsession led to the birth of the iconic 30 minutes or less guarantee. It became the it girl of the fast food world almost overnight. If your pizza wasn't at your door in half an hour, it was either free or you got a major discount. This move was absolutely revolutionary, and it put Domino's on the map in a way no marketing campaign ever could. Everyone was talking about it, but as you can probably guess, putting that much pressure on delivery drivers created a massive amount of drama. There were serious safety concerns, high-speed chases through residential neighborhoods, and legal battles that almost tanked the entire operation. It was a high-stakes gamble that defined the brand's identity for decades, for better or for worse. Now, don't go thinking it was all smooth sailing and easy money from there. The 1970s and 80s were a total emotional and financial roller coaster for the company. Expansion was happening at such a breakneck pace that the internal finances were a complete disaster. At several points during those decades, Domino's was staring straight down the barrel of total bankruptcy. It was like a celebrity tabloid story where one minute they were on top of the world, and the next, they were one bad week away from losing every single oven. Tom Monaghan had to navigate intense debt and massive corporate growing pains that would have crushed a lesser entrepreneur. But somehow, against all the odds, they kept the ovens hot and the delivery bikes moving. Then came the massive global invasion. Domino's started popping up in every corner of the map, from London to Tokyo. But the real flex, they actually moved into Italy. Think about the sheer audacity of that for a second. How do you convince the people who literally invented pizza to eat a mass-produced American version? That is some top-tier PR magic right there. They adapted their toppings, adjusted their marketing, and conquered markets that no one thought an American brand could ever touch. It is a testament to Tom's stubborn vision and the sheer power of the Domino's logistics machine. By the time the mid-2000s rolled around, Domino's was a household name, but there was a massive dark cloud hanging over their reputation. While they were the undisputed kings of delivery speed, people started noticing something tragic about the actual food. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Seriously, the feedback was becoming brutal. Rumors were swirling and the internet was not being kind. People were starting to say the pizza crust tasted exactly like the cardboard box it came in. We are about to dive into the biggest, boldest public apology in corporate history. You won't believe the secret technology they used to save their failing reputation. So, we have to talk about that mid-2000s era because, honestly, it was getting incredibly messy for our favorite delivery giant. While Domino's had the speed and the logistics down to a science, they hit a wall that almost destroyed everything Tom Monahan had built. By this point, the brand had become the ultimate punchline of the fast food world. We have all seen brands get roasted online today, but back then it was a different kind of brutal. People weren't just complaining about a late order or a missing soda. They were literally saying the pizza tasted exactly like the cardboard box it came in. Can you even imagine? The cardboard reputation was a monster they simply couldn't outrun anymore, even before Twitter and TikTok were the go-to places for dragging companies. The word on the street was savage. The public perception was at an all-time low, and for a while, it looked like the empire might actually crumble under the weight of its own bad recipes. But then, Domino's did something so wild and so risky that it's still studied in business schools today. They launched the pizza turnaround. You guys, this was arguably the boldest PR move in the history of marketing. Instead of hiding behind a fancy corporate statement or trying to distract us with a new celebrity spokesperson, they went full vulnerable mode. They actually filmed commercials where they showed real focus groups trashing their food. They showed high-ranking executives listening to people say their sauce tasted like flavorless ketchup and their crust was like wet paper. Talk about a major identity crisis. They didn't just apologize. They owned their failure in front of the entire world. It was a massive gamble. Would customers respect the honesty, or would they just agree that the pizza was trash and never order again? Luckily for them, the gamble paid off because they didn't just change their ads, they changed the entire soul of their kitchen. This wasn't just a simple makeover, it was a total identity transformation. They threw out the old recipes and started from scratch. We are talking about a complete overhaul of the cheese, the sauce, and especially that crust. They started adding garlic and herbs to the dough, using better quality toppings, and reinventing the very flavor profile that had made them a laughingstock. They proved they were serious about the food, but while the world was busy tasting the new garlic seasoned crust, the company was quietly preparing for its next evolution. They were about to stop thinking like a simple pizza joint and start thinking like a Silicon Valley powerhouse. This is where the story gets really juicy. Have you ever noticed how Domino's feels more like an app that sells food than a restaurant? That is because they leaned into technology so hard it redefined the entire industry. They launched the Anywhere platform, which is honestly kind of legendary. Think about the sheer convenience of it all. They made it so you could order a pizza by just texting a single pizza emoji. You could order through your smart fridge, your Apple Watch, your smart TV, or even via a tweet. They turned the act of buying dinner into a digital game. This kind of innovation kept them in the headlines and made them the it brand for the digital age. They realized that in a fast-paced world, the company that owns the screen owns the customer. And if you want some serious tea on their success, you only have to look at the stock market. This is the ultimate financial flex that leaves people absolutely stunned. If you had taken your money and invested it in Domino's stock back in 2010, instead of buying shares in tech giants like Apple, Amazon, or Google, you would have actually come out on top. Their stock growth during the 2010s was a total shock to the system, outperforming almost every major name in Silicon Valley. How did the pizza guys pull off such a massive win? It all comes down to their mastery of logistics and a sneaky strategy they call fortressing. Basically, they started opening shops so close to each other that they literally dominate the neighborhood gossip and kill off any local competition. They aren't just selling dough, they are owning the map. But think they've peaked? You won't believe the wild technology and rivalries that are defining their future right now. Now that the pizza actually tastes good and the stock is soaring, how does the public feel? If you hop on TikTok or Twitter today, you'll see that Domino's has mastered the art of being a main character in the fast food world. Have you ever caught yourself staring at the pizza tracker like it's the season finale of your favorite show? We've all been there. That little progress bar turned a boring wait into a digital game, making us feel like we're part of the process. Whether it's Jeff preparing your dough or Sarah putting it in the oven, that transparency creates a weirdly personal bond. It's pure social media genius. People post memes about their favorite delivery drivers, or the anxiety of watching the quality check stage take too long. This digital savvy is what keeps them ahead of the curve, while their rivals are left scrambling. Speaking of rivals, we have to spill the tea on the shady competition. The big three, Domino's, Pizza Hut, and Papa John's, have been in a delivery war that feels more like a celebrity feud. While Pizza Hut leans into 90s nostalgia and those iconic red roofs, and Papa John's claims the better ingredients crowned with their garlic dipping sauce, Domino's is winning the celebrity rankings by being the fastest and most tech forward. They aren't just selling slices, they are selling convenience. While others focused on traditional dine-in, Domino's was busy building a digital empire. It's a total power move that has left the competition playing catch-up in a world that moves at the speed of a thumb swipe. Remember those salty commercials where they compared delivery times? The shade was real, but guys, wait, because the future is looking even wilder. Have you heard the rumors about their autonomous delivery? We aren't just talking about a teenager in a hatchback anymore. We're talking about actual robots and drones. Imagine looking out your window and seeing a self-driving pod or a drone hovering over your driveway with a piping hot pepperoni feast. They've already been testing these neurobots and drone deliveries in places like New Zealand and certain US cities. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but for Domino's, it's just another Tuesday in the quest for global dominance. They are obsessed with cutting down that delivery time, aiming for a world where you barely have time to set the table before the doorbell rings. Speculation is at an all-time high, and with their track record, I wouldn't bet against them. And we have to talk about the modern delivery drama. For years, Domino's was the cool kid who refused to hang out with the third-party delivery apps. While every other restaurant jumped on Uber Eats and DoorDash, Domino's stayed loyal to its own fleet of drivers. Why? Because they wanted to control every single second of the experience. But even a giant like them has to adapt. Recently, they've started making strategic deals with the big delivery platforms to reach an even wider audience. It's a fascinating pivot that shows they know when to adapt. They are navigating the ghost kitchen landscape too, ensuring that even in a world without traditional storefronts, that blue and red logo remains the king of the neighborhood. As they look to conquer the global markets where they are still the underdog, you have to wonder where the ceiling is. Can they convince even more of the world that American-style delivery is the ultimate way to eat? From those humble Michigan roots where Tom Monaghan started with a $500 loan to the busy streets of Milan, the footprint is massive. When you look back, is Domino's the ultimate example of started from the bottom, now we're here? Tom took a massive gamble on a failing shop called Dominos and turned it into a global powerhouse that outperformed even the biggest tech titans. It's a legendary glow-up that reminds us that even when the world says your product tastes like cardboard, you can still come back and eventually own the crown. So what's the final verdict? Is Domino's your go-to when those late-night cravings hit? Drop the tea in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the brands that run our world. See